GM, welcome to
Jim.
Zombie Time Music Hour. Could be dropping another song. We're getting so close to the end now.
Final trilogy, track 2, right?
Track 1 of the final trilogy. So we're on
yeah.
track 7.
Okay.
Polhymnia, focusing on eloquence.
All right.
Yeah. I actually just did the write-up because I'm a slacker and I haven't done the write-up for 7, 8, and 9. So I literally am writing it right now. I still haven't done the art. Gerline sent it to me this morning. I've been very busy the last couple weeks. Not like I'm dropping the ball on the stream, but I'm definitely the music was done. I should have got ahead on this writing a little bit. But the cool thing is I really love the end of this album, and I think it's going to really come to me and flow. And so I am going to get ahead of myself and write these last 2 write-ups more ahead of the game. I'm going to focus on it and really finish this out strong with these write-ups. And then, so I did drop some information. I'll be doing some airdrops for these collections. Yeah. So if you collect 1, 2, and 3, you will receive 1 song. If
Check.
you collect 4, 5, and 6, you will receive a second song.
Check.
And if you collect 7, 8, and 9, you will receive a third song.
All right.
And
challenge accepted.
I already have these songs selected, right? I believe I have all the songs selected. One song I do want to do some work on. So I do still have a little bit of work to do in that regard. Let's see, what else? I have been in the studio a lot. I don't have another following album to go hard right now, but we're not done with this. Even once we're done dropping the songs, we still have some animations. I don't know where Gerline's going to go with this, but there's supposed to be an animation to go with this. So we'll be releasing the full album as an animation. And then I'm also going to be releasing this broader on Spotify as the full album. So there's going to be new ways to listen to this. And I'm just going to have to keep talking about this, especially because I don't know how true this is, but I've been told that in Web3, you should not drop a new song until you've minted out your last one. How do you feel about this? Where do you fall on this?
I tend to disagree. I think if you're waiting around, you're losing an opportunity to reach more people. But I'm not someone who's been releasing content, so it's easy for me to speak maybe on somebody else's behalf. But why do I have no sound?
I hear you.
Oh, good.
No sound on Restream. Interesting. Well, I think
try a refresh on your side.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as long as we're going out to the actual streams, which I can't.
Confirmed we're good on a Hypeshot. Let me check Twitch.
You can hear.
I can hear on Hypeshot.
Okay, good.
And I can hear on Twitch. Yep. So we're
good. Then we're good. So yeah, let's. Where were we? What were you saying? Because you thought you lost your audio.
Sorry.
You were talking. You were talking, and you thought you lost your audio, and then we got
lost my train of thought.
Oh man!
What was your question? You asked me a question. Maybe that'll help.
What did I ask you? Let's see. About minting out. So I have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have all these songs, and the mint started off really strong. I mean, we have 12 out of 13 collected of the first song. And then we got maybe 4 of the next couple of songs, but we've really dropped off since then. And so I'm trying to figure out what should I be doing. I'm even thinking about should I maybe just drop this on Spotify? Is it time to just like start hyping it other ways? Because maybe doing this long delay has really like 9 weeks is a long time. I mean, it's a whole freaking school semester. So
wild to think that.
Right. So maybe I've delayed this too long. Maybe I've taken too long. Maybe people are bored with these 1-minute songs.
You're also dealing with a pretty kind of empty lull in the market right now. People are just generally not around. But to answer your question specifically, should creators wait until their previous song mints out before releasing a new one? I don't think that's a benefit. I don't think that's like, if you live by that structure, if you live by that strategy, you may never get the chance to release everything you want to release. I don't think the only value to a piece of art of any kind is its monetary value. So personally, if I were the one, like I said, I'm not a creator. I don't list and post things regularly like you do, but I don't think I would wait for my previous stuff to sell out before listing more. Really, you're just putting your stuff out there. Ultimately, you're saying, here's my creations. If you support it, cool. Support it. Help me out. If you don't, that's also cool. Stick around. I might have something else you might like.
True. So yeah, I agree with you. I shouldn't put it totally to a halt. And we are going to have the airdrops. So the thing is, because the airdrops are related to the album, it means that there is only potentially 13 of each song, even for those. So if I meant 13 of each of those tracks and it doesn't end up getting dispersed across 13 wallets, then I actually have more songs for sale. So even if we meant out the original, even if everybody who collected 1 through 12 goes through and only like one person ends up, like if the whole thing ends up minting out, if it's not the same 13 people for every track, then that is leftover songs.
True.
And it's 3 for every one person. So essentially it could end up that like, I mean, not to give away your game, but like you might be the only one to get all the songs at this point. You're one of the only people that's collected every track. So you would get every song.
Perfect.
And it's got the extra gamification of it, not just being collecting any 3 tracks, but you have to collect these 3 tracks to get this song, these 3 to get that. So I am going to start working on the art right now, so you are welcome to lead the conversation in any way you feel. I'm going to share my screen while I'm doing this, as we did last week. I was just going to ask. Always remind me when I'm not sharing my screen, because I think I screwed that up a lot last week.
Oh yeah, last week we had the little icon, but it wasn't toggled on.
Right.
We're doing good so far.
Doing good. So you can see here last week's or all of the art. And I need to start a new one. So first thing,
it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks we've gone through like a listening party. So we've started at track 1, did the first trilogy, finished the second trilogy. Now we're into the third trilogy. I like the way that these artworks, the first one was like, okay, it's kind of a cool art, but it didn't, it wasn't connected to anything. Now that we have multiple artworks with the same type of look, the same type of feel, all done by the same artist, Gerline, and we've got a feel for how this album is actually flowing, I think there's like, there's a lot of cool, it's starting to feel a lot more collectible now than it did at the beginning of the drop. There's coherency, there's like a flow to the whole thing. If you're checking these out for the first time, you may not know that each of these tracks is about a minute. Zombie's been over this a couple times, but the intent was to release it on Instagram and keep it under that minute limit. There's also 9 tracks to be able to, do a square of all 9 albums and release that on Instagram. So that was kind of the focus. That was the restriction going into this. But if you didn't know that, if you were just stumbling across a 1-minute track, you might not be into that. now getting the feel for all those tracks, it's just a minute here, a minute there, a minute here, and each of them are so different. Getting a bunch of them all together, you can feel that coherency, and it's been a fun ride. I'm
That's
looking
cool.
forward to this third trilogy here because they're all distinct. They're all unique in their own little way.
You know what's funny is I think the trilogy idea even like almost comes from these three songs, because before this, I feel like before these last three tracks, I feel like I was just trying to write 9 songs. I was thinking of it as one album, but I also let each song be its own thing. And so that's why each song has its own flavor and its own like different instrumentation and different things, because I wanted to write songs. I didn't want it to feel like it was too cohesive, because as it being only like under 9 minutes, I didn't want somebody to just be like, oh, this is a really long song. I actually wanted you to feel the impact of each song and be like, no, there were clear movements throughout the whole thing. It wasn't, overly redundant or repetitive, even though I do reference.
They're unique, but they tie into each other. That's
Right.
what I was saying, like by getting 6 or whatever, having these 6 in the bag. Now I can start picking out key things like, oh, there's a bit in 5 that I heard in 1, or there's a bit in 6 that blended 2 and 3. You can get you get the connection bits.
Exactly. And that's kind of like, how I was talking about how they do have those connections of like repeated themes. So this is the third one that repeats the theme that we heard in 1, 4, and now 7. We're going to hear this theme again, and it actually does in a secret way repeat again in the last song, but it's much less prevalent. It's more of a secret way I use the theme. But it's funny because even I reuse themes, which does give it a cohesiveness, but I don't reuse them in a way where it feels too obvious.
I would agree with that.
So yeah, now I've done the art as you saw like last week, and I just did it again. Basically what I do is
so you start like the square, the art in the back. You start with what Gerline gave you, right? She does the graphic, and then you go in each week and add on all the text and do the offsetting and the drop shadows and the consistency bits. Yeah.
Right. And it's pretty easy because I did it the first time, and the zombie shepherd, I want it in the same spot every time. And then I tried to I have to change the song title every week, but I try to get it to line up relatively to this bottom right corner in a certain way. So you can see the shorter ones are more, I try to keep it, basically I was trying to line up somewhere around this E. I try to keep that E as a hallmark.
I see. Do like a left align on the E. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah. And so with the big ones, I actually have to like go further in because, I don't want to be touching that far right wall, which actually this one is almost even a little too tight, but it is what it is because that one's
a big
really
word.
long one. Yeah.
Yep. And if you go any further left, you'll cut into the graphic there.
It's about the same as Terpsikhore though, so it's not going to bother me. But
and none of them, like if you view them individually, you're never going to go, oh yeah, that one's really close to the edge.
Right.
It looks fine. Just
so, and I mean, for those who haven't been here every week, I literally get these in the morning. Like Gerline gives me these. Like I wake today. Up to it. Like she gives it to me overnight at like 1 or 3 a.m. or something like that. And I wake up to it. And on the days where I'm working from home, it's fine because I have all day to check my write up and make the art and be ready. But on days like today where I had somewhere else to be and I like even showed up to our education session 15 minutes late, like on those days, I'm sitting here creating the art live for you guys because, hey.
We do what we got to do. We work around what we've got to work around. But it's cool for me to see the process. So I hope I'm not the only one. I kind of like seeing the behind the scenes. I like seeing the, how did this come together?
Right. I'm glad because because I got to do it right now because it's time.
We're watching it come together.
And I mean, like I said, I just did the write-up a little while ago, like literally right before we went live. I started on it because I realized I didn't have anything. Gerline has been largely working off of the song, which is awesome. Let's see.
To do the art.
This one doesn't have lyrics. Yeah, yeah. And plus, like, she has a film idea going with this thing, and it was a thing we were going to make as a film, and then she was like, you know what, let's like restructure it. Like, since we have so many film ideas that some of them end up having to be like either shelved or condensed or saved for later. And this is one of those ones where it's a really cool idea, and maybe it's a good merge because it does have a lot of like thematic overlays. I think the nickname for the film is the Orange Noir. It's a horror movie about oranges, which is very different than the theme of the album, which I can go through again because we're getting close to the end, and I just want to make sure that I repeat these things a lot and we get it like talked about. I guess I don't have that. I need to make sure to write that in. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm done my write-up. It's a short but sweet one, but I'm going to get pretty deep on the next two. And then I will go over more of the other stuff. What time is it right now? We have about 10 minutes before. We always drop at the half hour, so we got about 10 minutes. So maybe we'll just talk through some stuff. And so yeah, Polhymnia, I'll give you the readout. Y'all can tell me if you think I should make any changes since we haven't posted yet. There was a desolation in this riff that I wanted to remain untainted, but needed to ensure that it wasn't too vacuous. See some spelling errors here, so fix those. In the distance, we hear the train, which is our only rhythm, built from a sample and undertone with a Moog analog synth. This ends up being one of the few songs that I multi-track guitars because the fingering of each take becomes a chorus of voices drifting in rhythm and almost like time running over each other in a loop. This riff has always been here.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
So, and like I was saying, these three songs to me tied together in a way that made it like, okay, this album needs to have, like, I looked back and saw the threes in the other two sets. All of a sudden I was like, okay, 7, 8, and 9 are a thing. They flow, they complete the thing. And these are actually the longest songs. These actually push it to that minute, which I think the last three got pretty close too. But I think these songs have more space that I filled without the music. So if you actually listen to the music itself, the music itself might only be 15 or 20 seconds. And I was like, that's way too short for a song. But I was like, these riffs are so powerful, despite how short it might be. I want the space around it. So I needed to like build into the riff and give it this ambiance that I think really lets the riff be simple.
Interesting. And you said no lyrics on this one, so this is all musical and space.
The rest of the album has no lyrics.
Oh, the whole trilogy. Okay.
So the last song, we went out hard with a scream. We like really went hard and had like
that song was good.
A social message in a sense. Like we really said something to the world, and now we're gonna just like be silent and listen,
fade out
to the world. We're gonna
Blood and Honey was a little bit that way, where the end of it was kind of like an echoing, like a reverberation. There was a slow completion to the track. I dig it.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I almost think about, I love hard music, I love intense music, but it's almost like a workout, and it's almost like anything intense. You don't just start at 11. You should build up, and then after you've gone up, you don't want to be left like with nothing.
Don't leave at 11.
You want the cool down. You want the aftercare. You want to like, chill. It like You know, it's like hallucinogens. You know, you don't want to just like go from like outer space to like smack down in
Right.
the earth, like burn up in the atmosphere. You want to like
There's a
slowly,
phasing process
yeah.
coming back down to earth.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's something I've really learned as a musician. I started off, you know, I've always loved like rock music and then got into metal music. And in all the early bands I was in, started off as a metal singer. And it's been cool to like move away from that more as a musician and then like realize along the way somewhere that like, oh, I'm not going to let that thing go. That's a something powerful that other people don't have and can't do. So I need to tap into that when I need it, but I don't need to be at 11 all the time.
Right.
And
Right. You got to build to the 11. The, the energy is the getting to the 11, not just being on 11.
right. So I feel like in a lot of ways I have, you know, I've really become film and working by myself outside of bands. Like when I started to do my own music and say, oh, I'm not in a band anymore, so I don't have to think like a band. Even though these songs I've been releasing are all thinking like a band, a lot of what I've done for the previous years before I got into crypto was a lot of like ambiance and a lot of just weirdness. And I feel like
A lot
that
of
was,
synth.
yeah, a lot of synth. And I feel like it was good for me to explore that, especially when it came to film and doing Foley and thinking about these things. Yeah, and like less of a band and more of just like what is sound. It's more esoteric, like how does sound work and what am I making people feel, and really exploring and almost in a lot of ways giving up on commercial. Like I've said this before in many streams and things, that like, you know, how much does like money hold us back from creativity, because this need to like sell work makes you constantly thinking about what sells instead
What's
of
the
like
value?
what's the value. And so I spent a long time where I just gave up on that idea, and I was like, I was just making music. And then like in the way of film, it did become more like it became this idea that like, oh, I'm more successful making films and making music for films than I am as a musician. And now you know, I want my music out there, and I didn't want these songs like that all these years I've been releasing music. Why am I releasing these old songs now? It's because these songs mean something to me, and I've been waiting for the medium that means something to me to drop it in. And that medium is NFTs and Web3. And like I'm happy to be like finally, you know, able to feel like, yeah, like
You
this
found your spot.
this is the drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is cool.
This was the right place to drop this particular creation.
Exactly. Trying to name this file real quick. And then we're gonna start the drop. But yeah,
So I was just gonna say we're inching up on that half-hour mark. I'm getting antsy. I want to hear this one.
that is yeah, I'm getting ready. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'm excited to be doing this, and it's why I've held off on dropping these songs, because this is the time and this is the place, and we're doing it where it matters. And this is why you should be collecting these, because I've saved this for you. I've saved it for this audience and this time period. I mean, these songs specifically were written in 2016. And Blood and Honey, it might even be slightly older than that, where I wrote that at the tail end of being in a stoner metal band. Like that was kind of like one of those things. And I actually just redid the song by myself, did the drums and everything, and did this, added the synth. The synth was never part of the last iteration. It was just me and a drummer, and those weren't the lyrics. I don't even know if I had lyrics for it, but those weren't them if I did. So I like totally redid that song for Web3.
Nice.
And I redid this album. I didn't re-record any instruments or anything like that for this album, but I remixed it, remastered it, and got artwork from Gerline and did these write-ups and everything fresh 2023 to make this a reality here now. And I've got more coming. And my next album, my big album, I might have more songs between now and then, but my next album, the full big album that's going to be at least like a 45-minute album, maybe 60-minute, that is really important to me. It might be my pinnacle. Those songs I've been working on for a decade at least. Like these songs, not all of them, but some of them are a decade old, and I've just been working on them. And I mean working on them in the sense that some parts are really old, some parts are really new within the same song. You know what I mean? Some of these recordings might be 10 years old, and some of these recordings I did like a few hours ago, or over the weekend. The vocals are fresh because I didn't even know, just like with this album, that I would be doing lyrics for those albums, like for those songs. So I spent a lot of time on the synths and the guitars and the drums. And like, I spent all this time learning drums. That's another reason these songs didn't get released, because 10 years ago, I wasn't a drummer.
Huh.
I had to become a drummer over the last, it's almost like Bill and Ted. It's like, I have to go learn all these skills before I can do anything. Little bit of perfectionism in there, but I'm getting past it. I told myself 2023 was going to be the year that, the year of the zombie. Drop shit, get things out the door, start doing it all the time, be serious about it. We did it with Zombie Town Music Hour. We've been doing playlists. We've been dropping the ball on playlists, but they're coming back, y'all. I've been busy. I've been focusing on music.
Hit us with some content too. If you've got ideas for playlists, Web3 preferred, but otherwise, like,
I'm gonna start doing some more stuff with riff artists, man. I'm gonna be highlighting the homies. Highlighting the homies. So, all right, we're about to switch tabs and start sharing the upload process. So, share screen. Let's go to Beats. We got Gerline in the chat saying she's having fun.
Yum.
We got Love T in the Hypeshot chat. Gerline, you're dropping the ball. You always come over through Twitch. We'd love to have you. That's not
dropping balls.
Shot. No, you're here. You're right. It's never dropping the ball if you're showing up. But yeah, we would love to have people on Hypeshot. We do these live on Hypeshot on Monday, and then we do the replay later in the week. We've been doing it Friday, but I want to do more streams, and some of those streams are going to be live, impromptu, just whenever I feel like it. Other streams are going to be pre-recorded, and I'm just going to let those drop at certain times. And, it doesn't matter. Even if it's pre-recorded, you can still be in the chat. You can still DM me. You can still interact with us. And, yeah, part of the reason, I spelled this. I got to redo the artwork. This is spelled wrong.
Ooh.
Glad I caught that. Anyway, yeah.
I've been trying to find a link to Blood and Honey. 5 minutes. I'm a little behind the times now, but we're going to find it.
I keep it in the descriptions of all these videos.
I tried doing, I went to Lenster and started scrolling.
Go to media. If you go to Lenster, go to media.
Oh, that's what I goofed. I stopped scrolling and went over to Lensport and tried to search content on Lensport, but they only let you search by user. So that was unsuccessful as well.
All right. I have now fixed the art. Oh man, am I glad I caught that. Like we were talking about with Liz the other
Blockchain.
week.
Yes.
Yeah, like put your mistakes on blockchain. Make sure to do that. That is one of those things that's not good for perfectionists. Like you definitely gotta like be a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to Web3. All right. Downloading the new artwork since I almost screwed that one up. Wait. Cancel. I just tried to do it all. There we go. Boy, am I glad I caught that.
Yeah.
Right.
Found it. Paste, confirm the link. Huzzah. All right, I'm going to drop this into Hypeshot chat. In the event that you have not heard or collected Blood and Honey yet, Monster link is in Hypeshot, and that one's a banger.
That's true. Technically, going back to the like, should you mint out, like, so I think there's 100 of Blood and Honey and seasoning. Maybe there's less. Maybe there's like 69 or some other meme number. But those are not minted out. And I've been really trying to push those all year because seasoning is another one that's not done yet. So, you know, it can't hurt to have some Blood and Honey and some seasoning and all these other tasty songs.
I should have used a referral link. I should have sent a mirror link for that so people could collect your track through my mirror link.
Very true, sir.
I gave you the straight source link, so you're getting full sauce. But if maybe you like this song and don't want to spend the 5 Matic to collect it, feel free to mirror it for that 20% referral fee for your friends who may want to collect it. This is the beauty of Web3 is if you are taking part in helping creators' content go viral, you yourself can get a piece of that reward. For helping that virality, you can capture some of the value of what you're providing. So if you haven't collected it, or if you have collected it, feel free to mirror that post and jump on that 20% referral fee.
I think it's 10%.
I'm on 20.
Huh?
I'm on it. It's 20.
For Blood and Honey, it might be. Yeah, I think for these, it might be 10%.
Yeah, it's 5 Matic. There's 85 available, 20% referral fee.
There you go.
That one's a steal of a deal, and the fact that it isn't sold out is like kind of surprising.
Well,
I could buy multiple copies. I would.
Yeah, I mean, building the audience, you know, and like you said, that 20%, like, yeah, that's out of 5. Well, that's a whole Matic.
It's a buck.
So that's like, yeah, you get a whole Matic out of that 5 Matic sale. So that's pretty cool.
For the cost of nothing. You can mirror for free. It costs you nothing. If you like it and you want to support an artist, you just mirror it. And if people collect it through your post, then you get paid. Very cool.
Rock genre, access to anyone, collect settings. We're setting them now. So anyone, unlimited time, limited editions. We're going to do a 10% referral. 7 Matic. 13 editions. Boom. And all right, we're good. We've got the proper title, Polhymnia, Helicon 7 Descending. As we're naming the singles, they're going to be slightly different. The album title is Helicon Descending. each song has a title, Polhymnia, which is track 7 of 9. So each single is now called its title, Polhymnia, Helicon 7 Descending, because Helicon is the mountain upon which Apollo and the Muses live, and they are descending from Helicon into our current creator landscape. And I will hit post on this, and then I'll go back and read you the write-ups I have so far for the album. So here we go. We're signing our transaction. It's a sign. This is Lynn's protocol, so it's a sign, but this also has a gas fee associated.
And we're on beatsapp.xyz or beatsxyz.app.
Correct. Which is Riff.
They're the same.
Yep. Their domain is called Beats
out
because they're changing their name, but
they need to figure that out. Because they got 3 names right now.
Yeah, Hypeshot was the 402, and now they're just Hypeshot. So even the URL is now changed. So doing good there. There you go. Helicon 7.
You can still get to it. 402.xyz. It doesn't
forward.
Cool. They're
That's
both
cool.
live.
There you go. Well, that's the way you do it. So yeah, well, there you go. We're posted. It's out there. It's live and in the world. We haven't listened to it yet. We have not listened to it yet. I have to shut my mouth, I guess. I'll drop it in the chat. Boom. It's going out to Twitch. You dropped it. Boom. I'm dropping it. Oh, I'm dropping it here in Hypeshot. Boom. All right. We're listening. We're ready.
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Polhymnia, track 7 of 9.
Very spatial. Very spatial. The train sound really fills it.
Yeah, and that's like an accented train sound, because like the train sound was great, but I wanted really something low and deep, and so I made the Moog. I made a Moog sound that perfectly rode with that train to really like give it a drive. These 3 songs together have more of an overlap. So when we hear 7, 8, and 9 together, there's actually more of some of the sounds from 8 would be bleeding in already at the tail end of 7. And then some of the sound.
But they weren't in this track. You're saying like when you combine them all. Okay.
Exactly. Because this one has train. The next one has another ambient sound. I guess I can give it away. Why not? The next one is going to have coyotes as our more ambient sound.
Okay. So like a nighttime, open, wild landscape.
In a way, we're kind of moving away. We had our last like societal kind of message in the last song. It kind of spoke about humanity and society and ourselves. And then like now we're moving into this desolation of like
getting the fuck out of that town,
out into the middle of nowhere. You're alone with the coyotes, ego dissolution. The whole thing breaks down. And kind of, in a way, I like to think this album could play almost as a perfect loop. Like when it ends, if it were to start over instantly, it wouldn't be wrong.
I see what you mean.
So,
or I understand what you mean, I think.
So yeah, let's I'll go through the write-up of the album and give an explanation of kind of what's going on here. And then I'll give some more alpha, and then we'll call it a night because we're coming up on our hour pretty quickly there. We got about 17 minutes left, so a little time to kill. So another nickname I had for this album is the Nine Muse. I don't know how you say it. I guess it would be Muses, Musae, but I really liked the way that it looked. So I was nicknaming it that for a while. It also used to be called Insta Album because each of the songs was made for Instagram, and I didn't fully have the title that I wanted yet for it. So
That's a
that was
working
its
title. That's a
working.
filler. That's a gap or a
Absolutely.
placeholder.
So Helicon Descending is a reflection of the fleeting and transient nature of creative inspiration in the absence of divine guidance beyond money and celebrity. Each song is under a minute long, designed for social media, a commentary on the shift in the art world towards instant gratification and the need for commercial and social media success. Artists struggle to find meaning and purpose in a world where true artistic expression has been redirected towards algorithms guided by the misaligned general intelligence of the market. The title of the album, Helicon Descending, is a requiem to the muses. While they may have left humanity behind, their inspiration and influence can still be felt, even in the briefest of moments. The songs on this album are a testament to the enduring power of artistic expression and the human spirit, even in a world where inspiration has been replaced by the need for instant gratification and social media success. Overall, this album represents my own journey in ego dissolution as an artist in a world that has lost touch with the truest nature of the creative spirit. Through it, I hope to inspire others to reconnect with their truest creativity and to find the inspiration they need to tap into their higher self. The original concept behind Helicon Descending was to create an album of songs that were under a minute. 9 was a good number because it's a solid block on Instagram where the album was originally created to be released. The music itself was recorded in 2016 with a few additions since then, the main one being vocals. The reason this album sat dormant for so long was because I didn't want vocals, wasn't sure what to do visually or even thematically with titles, and I knew the album somehow wasn't finished, even in the audio. It sat while I moved on to other films and other music. And this year has been about getting all of this music out so I can move on to other projects and not have these songs that I love so much just lingering there, always over my head, waiting to be finished. I want these songs to be heard. Blood and Honey was a great way to kick it off, and this is a good way to keep it going because it will not at all prepare you for the album I have in store for you this year. It will not at all prepare you. Helicon Descending is an experiment in minimal production in many ways. Minimal track layers, minimal mixing and effects in most places, but production tools were implemented as musical elements. Short songs, this use of empty space, and yet there's a diversity of instruments, soundscapes, and arrangements. There were melodies that repeated in multiple songs, and yet never feels like we're covering old ground. There were patterns throughout the album. 3 of the songs were written or driven by the bass synth. 3 of them have the same melodic pattern in it. 3 of them have no drums and are built around synthesis. And all of them have something in it, in its arrangement, that sets it apart from every other song. So that's it.
They've all been very different.
Album.
They've all been very like each track is isolated. There's something isolated about it that is it's unique just to that track. But the connecting of all the dots makes a nice flow.
Hell yeah. Appreciate that. So I don't know exactly how this is going to work out. I'm hoping that we're going to keep this time slot for the remainder of the drops. There is a potential my schedule could get disrupted over the next couple weeks, but What I was thinking is I would love to do, we haven't done it in a while, but I would love to do a live performance.
We have not done it in a while. That was cool. Let's do that again.
So that was how we started here on the 402 or the hype shot now. So let's christen the hype shot with a live performance.
Let's do it.
And so I've been preparing. I actually have, obviously I have this album. I will play this album live. And then we have Blood and Honey. I can play Blood and Honey. I have a cover song, maybe a couple cover songs, but I could try to do By This River. I've been working on this Brian Eno cover song, and you can see that on Instagram and YouTube, some little clips of me just recording the MIDI tracks. But I actually have it all planned out where I have the MIDI tracks, and then I have parts I'm going to play on the piano and another instrument, and then I'm going to be singing. So it's singing, a little bit of keyboard, and then obviously we have our guitar tracks I'll be playing. So it might not be a full hour of performance. We still have to drop the song, drop the track, do some talking. Maybe we'll make it a long stream, especially if it ends up not being on the Monday. Like maybe we'll still end up dropping the song and then have to like do the live performance later in the week, or maybe we'll even do the live performance previous to the songs coming out. Could be something that comes sooner than later. So
follow your heart. Follow your heart. I think it'll be well received whenever you decide it's a good time.
So I want to do more live performance in general, and I really just want to start doing like live streams like all the time, where even if I'm just bullshitting in the studio, I just want to like start doing it and break that ice of just building and creating in public, not being shy about it. Like
it's a big step. It's not easy for everybody to do that. It's practice for most people.
A little embarrassing. You're gonna have to deal with it, and as you grow in popularity, you're gonna have like people making fun of you, and like, but whatever, that's what you do, right? But no, like last week, girl on her live stream was just like writing a song in public. You know what I mean? Like
that was all raw production. That was cool to see. It went longer than she'd expected and longer than I'd expected, but that's the nature of creative processes. But to see her go from zero to a produced song, all live, all the mistakes, all the retakes, all the I just don't like that. Try it again. Like you're there live with the artist.
It's really inspiring to see people do that too, because like it's so hard in the studio sometimes to remain focused and to like, especially when you keep messing up, it's almost like, you want to move on to something else. You want to like put it away. Cause there is this like 85-15 where like when you're playing and when you're doing something, you want to succeed 85% of the time. You don't want to be failing more than that because it frustrates you to the point that you want to give up. But as long as you're like, if you're playing a song and you're trying to like learn a new song on piano, you're most frustrated in that very beginning stage where every note you hit is wrong. And you're like, you get the first three and then you hit that, and it's like,
flip the piano, go get a burrito.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get past that struggle point quick enough that you're like, okay, I'm getting it. And then like, then you get to that point where you're getting it right 85%, but that's still not really good enough to record. So it's really hard like to do this live and to like really get a finished product like that. So it was inspiring, and I'm not saying that I'll necessarily push myself to say I'm going to complete a song, but why not just like go live when I'm in the studio? If I can work up here. My main problem with this has been that my real recording studio is in another room without my streaming computer. So that would be another thing, is like, should I think about like consolidating my space, whatever that looks like, either bringing my music studio out to this room or putting this equipment back in there and turning.
You could just use your phone, right? If it's just recording your environment versus like, a production. If you've got high quality streaming stuff out here, seems like a lot of work to move it into the tiny little studio that's already jam packed with your your equipment.
It is, but it would also be maybe I don't know. It might be a fun challenge to see if I can just like make it all in one studio.
With no roommate, you got a little bit more flexibility there. Bring all your stuff out in the living room and
That's true. I mean, that's where I would really have to do is probably use this space more than anything, because it's like tramming into a tiny bedroom would be a lot harder than like turning my living room into a studio. So goodbye chances of a relationship when I do that.
Hey, come on over. There's nowhere to sit or lay or eat.
Like,
But
wait,
come on
where's
over.
your couch? Well, I have drum thrones and desk chairs, and I'm sitting on essentially what is a medical stool. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those rolly
Whatever
chair.
works.
It's like a rolly chair at the bottom, stool at the top.
Mhm.
Hey, you know what? Utility.
That's right.
That's what Web3
Minimal
is all
space.
about. Utility. All of my stuff works, right? I got a desk, got a keyboard, got another keyboard. Everything works.
Nice.
So yeah, live performances, more live streams, more stuff. Collect these songs, collect Blood and Honey, collect Seasoning. We got animations coming. Obviously, all of the Zimtimo Fate Gotchis have music done by me. So there's all kinds of way to support your boy. There's all kinds of way to get involved with From A to Z and Zombie Shepherd and Zimtimo. And we are doing the damn thing. And we got so much more in store. And like, we have so much. Like, you know, like we talk about a lot of stuff that nobody really knows all the stuff we get into and what might be next on the horizon for us.
It's exciting. It's exciting.
So, really appreciate everybody joining us in the audience tonight. We got Gurleen and Love Tea. Did we get any more people in the hype shot? No, but we'll have people watching this later. It's always up there. We always get so much support and love after the fact. And anything else we need to talk about? We have From A to Z, a creator economy podcast streaming tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We have
Zombie Time Music Hour playlist, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Well, that's usually been a restream of this episode. So
Oh, good. Okay.
it's yeah, but like I said, I need to push myself, be doing some more playlists. So I might do that. I keep saying I might do that, but I might need to spend some more time just making playlists and recording myself listening to music and hanging out and getting these, you know, getting some scheduled streams going where I can just show, because I have so much music in the can. I just haven't created playlists for it. Like, so many other artists I want to support. The other hard part of that is like really giving everybody their proper credit, getting everybody's links, getting all their lens accounts and everything. Like, got to really give everybody their due and make sure that you can like, yeah, highlight it. So, see y'all again soon.
Sounds good. Looking forward to next week.
Thanks for collecting, friends, and we will see you again.